The first time the world heard a giant pray, it mistook the sound for an avalanche. It began in the Mirror Basin, an ancient crater lake so still it could steal the sky and wear it like glass. No wind dared touch it. Even birds curved away, as if the air above the water had rules older than flight. That night the moon hung low and swollen, and the water reflected a second moon that didn't belong. Then the lake blinked. Ripples spread outward in perfect rings like a heartbeat. The ground answered with a long, rolling groan. Trees shivered. Stones clicked together like teeth. And from the far side of the basin, something rose, not climbing, not crawling, unfolding. A giant stood up in slow sections, like a continent deciding to move. His shoulders were plated in slate and silver shale, his arms banded with pale veins of quartz that caught moonlight like trapped lightning. Moss draped his back like a cloak left by time. His eyes were not eyes so much as weather, deep, clouded, and full of distance. The people of the valley, fishermen, shepherds, those who survived by never looking too long at the mountains, watched from their roofs and doorways, frozen with the kind of fear that turns a breath into a prayer. The giant's name, they would later learn, was Orin of the Hollow Crown, a colossus with a cracked stone helm fused to his skull, as if a mountain had once tried to swallow his head and failed. He carried no weapon. He didn't need one. Each step made the lake slosh like a bowl. Orin knelt at the Mirror Basin. The sound of his knees touching earth snapped boulders in half. And then he lowered his head and he spoke to the water. Not in thunder, not in rage, in a voice like grinding glaciers. Show me what I broke. The lake brightened. Its surface became a screen, a lens, a doorway. The villagers saw it too. Visions inside the basin's mirror. A time when the world was young and reckless, when giants walked openly, through morning mist as if it were their private curtain. They saw Orin, not kneeling, but marching. His body then was clean as stone, his crown uncracked, his eyes fierce and sharp. Behind him came other giants in ranks, iron-skinned colossi with hammered faces, sand-bodied titans that poured and reformed, frost giants with antlers of ice, and drifting above them like a storm given bones, a sky giant queen wrapped in rotating rings of cloud metal. Her name was Medra of the Spiral Gale, a towering figure with pale wind-carved features, hair like streaming storm banners, and floating armor plates that orbited her chest and shoulders as if gravity feared to touch her. The lake showed the moment that began everything. A city, not a human city, too small for that, but a giant city carved into a ridge, its bridges spanning canyons like threads across a torn cloth. Orin stood at its center holding something the size of a house, a bell made from black crystal and meteor iron. He struck it, and the sound didn't travel through air, it traveled through bones, the world's bones. Mountains shuddered, rivers reversed, entire forests bowed as if the trees suddenly remembered who owned the land. The bell was an ancient instrument, an engine of command, and Orin used it to end a war before it could begin. He meant to force peace. Instead, he forced obedience. The other giants felt their thoughts tighten, their wills kink sideways. 1,000 proud minds suddenly heard the same order. Kneel. Medra did not kneel. She looked at Orin with the calm of a storm that has already chosen where it will land. And she smiled, because Medra had been waiting for a reason, waiting for the giants to fear one another again. She raised her arm, and the sky answered like a loyal animal. Clouds spiraled downward, compressing into spears of blue-white light. The first bolt struck the bell and split it into screaming shards. Freedom snapped back into the giants like breath into drowned lungs, and the war ignited in a single second. The mirror basin showed pieces of it like shattered glass, Oren tearing a bridge from the ridge and swinging it like a blade. Maedra hovering above, her orbiting plates flaring, drawing lightning into a crown of crackling halos. Iron giants colliding and turning valleys into trenches. Sand titans swallowing armies of stone. Frost giants freezing entire rivers into jagged roads for their allies to march across. But the lake lingered on one thing, the thing Oren couldn't forget. In the chaos, a mountain broke. Not cracked, not shifted, broke open like an egg. And from inside it, light poured out, warm, amber, soft. Nothing like fire or lightning. It looked alive. The first lantern. A relic older than giants, older than names. A living ember that didn't burn fuel. It burned time. It made growth happen too fast. It made wounds heal wrong. It made thoughts bloom into madness. Maedra saw it. At the same moment, Oren did. And both understood without words that whoever held it would not just win the war. They would rewrite the rules of the world. So they raced. Oren reached it first. He wrapped his hands around that warm, impossible light. His quartz veins blazed, his crown cracked, and the lantern poured visions into him. Future after future, each one worse than the last. Giants towering over charred plains. A sky with no birds. A world so quiet it sounded like guilt. Oren screamed, and the scream rolled across the continent like a drumbeat. Mountains answered, not with loyalty, with pain. Because the lantern did not like being held. It liked being followed. The mirror basin dimmed, as if ashamed. Then the vision shifted to the present. Oren still knelt, now trembling. The villagers could see his quartz veins flicker like dying stars. His giant hands hovered over the lake, as if afraid to touch it.
I seek the path
Show
to
me,
redemption.
he whispered again. Show me how to fix it. The water offered him a final image. Maedra, far away, entombed within a cyclone made of stone and ice, still alive, still dreaming. Her face was calm. Her storm banner hair floated in slow motion. Her orbiting plates spun gently, patiently, like a clock that had all the time in the world. And at her chest, glowing faintly, was a shard of the first lantern. Oren's eyes cleared, storm turning to purpose. He rose. The basin groaned as his shadow rolled over it like night. He turned toward the mountains, toward the old battlefields, toward the places where the earth's scars still refused to heal. And the narrator in your mind, the one with the velvet voice and the sense of doom, would say it like this. The giants didn't vanish, they withdrew. Not because they were defeated, but because they realized the world was smaller than their mistakes. Oren took one step, then another, each one a promise. Somewhere in the high storms, the wind tightened into a spiral. Somewhere underground, stone shifted like a sleeping shoulder. And the mirror basin, perfect and still again, reflected a moon that didn't belong. Because something ancient had opened its eyes.